Everyone asks, why did it happen? But no one asks, how did it feel afterward? Today, I'm going to tell the story of that after, because no one shows what life looks like after divorce. I don't know if it's right to say these things. I've thought about it for a long time, whether I should speak up or stay silent. There's a weight pressing on my chest, and if I don't let it out, it may never feel lighter. Today, I'm going to say it. My marriage is over. Yes, we're divorced. I know this may shock a lot of people. From the outside, everything looked perfectly fine. Smiling photos, trips together, shared beautiful moments. People probably thought we were truly happy. But no one saw the storm raging beneath the surface. Today, I'm going to talk about that storm. The marriage began with so many dreams. At the time, I believed that love could solve every problem. I believed that if two people truly loved each other, they could get through any difficult time. The first phase of the marriage was truly beautiful. A new home, new dreams, starting mornings together, falling asleep talking at night. These little moments made life feel complete. But over time, a distance started to grow. Gradually. So gradually that at first, I didn't even notice it. When problems start in a relationship, they often don't begin with a big event. They start with small things. For example, there was a time when we talked about everything. Work, family, dreams, fears. But gradually, I noticed the conversations decreasing. Even when we were at home, both of us were busy on our phones. Dinner was eaten in silence. At first, I thought, this is normal. A little routine is bound to come in married life. It happens in every relationship. But then I noticed something more. It wasn't just the conversations that were fading. The feelings were fading too. When I said something, there was no interest in listening attentively. When I faced a problem, there was no willingness to stand by me. When I came home tired, there was no time to even ask how my day was. These nothings piled up, and one day, they became a mountain. Divorce, the word itself hits you in the chest, doesn't it? In our society, many still see divorce as a failure. They think something went wrong, that someone is to blame. But I've come to understand, it's not always about blame. Sometimes, two people just aren't meant for each other. Sometimes, time changes, people change, feelings change. And accepting that is the hardest part. The day the divorce was finally decided, I sat alone for a long time. 1,000 thoughts in my head. What will my family say? What will people think? What will my future look like? Will I be able to live alone? But the biggest question of all was, will I be able to live with this decision? Telling my family was another difficult chapter. My parents always wanted me to be happy. Since childhood, they had dreamed so many dreams for me. The joy in their eyes on my wedding day, I will never forget that. And then I had to go to them and say, my marriage is over. The day I told them, my mother was silent for a moment. Then she simply asked, "Are you okay?" That one question from my mother brought tears to my eyes. She didn't blame me. She didn't question me. She didn't speak about society. She only wanted to know if I was okay. In that moment, I realized this is what family means. Standing by you in times of trouble. Later, my father sat beside me one day and said, "Many things come and go in life. Stay strong." Those words became my greatest support at that time in my life. The first few nights after the divorce were the hardest. Coming home to an empty house, no sound, no presence, that silence would choke me. It's the small habits that hurt the most. In the morning, making tea would remind me that I used to make it for both of us. Ordering dinner at night, I'd think about what they liked. When good news came, my first thought was, I should tell them right away. Then I remembered, there's no one to share it with. It's in these little moments that loneliness bites the deepest. I couldn't sleep properly the first week. Lying in bed at night, 1,000 memories would flood in. Sometimes good memories, sometimes arguments, sometimes the laughter we shared, moments that are now gone. One night, I woke up in the middle of sleep, completely alone. A dark room, the sound of rain outside. That night, for the first time, I wondered, will this life ever be the same again? When a relationship breaks, what hurts the most are people's words. Some show sympathy. Some ask questions out of curiosity. Some judge. Some give advice. And then there are those who say things that make you feel like you're sinking into the ground. Did it end so quickly? Couldn't you have tried a little harder? You should have accepted it. You were at fault too. Hearing these words over and over, there comes a point when you feel there's nothing to say to these people. They won't understand. Because those who weren't part of that relationship will never know how much effort was made. How many times you tried to forget. How many times you tried to start over. Still, there were some people who didn't ask questions, who just stood by me, who simply said, "I'm here." In that moment, those 2 words were priceless to me. When a relationship ends, people naturally wonder, did I make a mistake? I wondered too. Many nights I stayed awake thinking, could I have given a little more time? Could I have been a little more patient? Could I have communicated a little better? These "a little more" thoughts keep spinning in your head. But at some point, I realized blaming myself excessively is also harmful. It lowers your self-respect. It diminishes your sense of worth. Yes, maybe I made mistakes too, but the idea that divorce happened because I wasn't perfect, that's not true. The truth is the 2 of us were no longer right for each other. And accepting that truth takes the greatest courage. The legal process of divorce, not many people talk about it, but it is, in itself, a major test. Paperwork, lawyers, court. Going through the entire process feels like breaking a relationship into tiny pieces. Who gets what? Whose rights? In that calculation, the human connection is lost. Going through that process is exhausting, not just physically, but mentally as well. Every date, every document, every discussion, in each moment, it felt like a knife was being driven in somewhere. But it had to be endured, because if you don't get through it, moving forward is impossible. Are you okay? Many people asked me this question. Every time I answered, yes, I'm fine. But the truth is, I wasn't fine. Inside, there was an emptiness, an uncertainty, a fear. At that time, it felt like showing weakness wasn't allowed, like breaking down wasn't an option. Now I understand that was a mistake. When you're hurting, you have to admit it. When you feel like crying, you have to cry. When you break, you have to accept it. Because the one who can honestly acknowledge their pain is the one who can eventually come out of it. And the one who always says, I'm fine, is really lying to themselves. There comes a time when a person realizes, should I stay in this pain or try to move forward? That moment came to me much later. One morning, I suddenly felt I need to go outside, take a walk. I went. I walked alone. That day, for the first time in a long while, I felt a little lighter. I realized life hasn't stopped. People are moving on the streets. Birds are calling. Shops are opening. Life is moving at its own pace. And I have to move too. From that point on, I started taking small steps. I reached out to old friends. I began doing things I loved but hadn't done in a long time. I started making time for myself, slowly, step by step. From this entire experience, I've learned a few things which might help you too. First, love alone is not enough. To sustain a relationship, love must be accompanied by respect, trust, communication, and attention to each other. A relationship cannot survive on love alone. Second, don't lose yourself. In a relationship, it's easy to lose your own identity, your preferences, your dreams. That must not happen. A relationship means two people coming together, not one person disappearing into the other. Third, suppressing problems doesn't solve them. Often, we hold things inside to avoid arguments or keep the peace. But keeping it in eventually explodes. Speaking openly in time is far better. Fourth, asking for help is not a weakness. During difficult times, if you need support from family, friends, or a professional counselor, there's no shame in asking. In fact, it's an act of courage. Fifth, an ending is not always the end. The end of one chapter does not mean the whole book is over. New pages come in life. New people enter. New opportunities arise. How am I now? To be honest, not everything has healed. Some moments still bring pain. Some memories still hit me unexpectedly. But it doesn't feel as helpless as before. Now, I've been given a chance to know myself. A chance to learn to live for myself. When I make tea in the morning, now I make it for someone. And that someone has become very important. That someone is me. I've learned to love myself. And perhaps this lesson is the greatest gift of this entire difficult experience. If any of you are in a difficult relationship right now, here's what I want to say. Be honest with yourself. If the relationship diminishes you, hurts your self-respect, or causes you pain every day, then it's not a healthy relationship. And if your relationship has ended, know this: you are not alone. Many have walked this path. The strength to endure this pain is already within you. And one day, truly one day, everything will be okay again. Maybe not the way it was before, but in a new way. And perhaps that new way will be even more beautiful. Saying these words today feels like a weight has been lifted. They've been pressing on my chest for a long time. Today, I let them out. I know some people watching this video might judge. Some might wonder why I made this public. But I spoke up because maybe there's someone out there going through the same kind of pain, feeling alone, feeling like no one understands. I want that person to know someone understands. I understand. And for that person, I just want to say this: you are not alone. You are strong, and you can get through this pain. I made it through. You can too. If this video has helped you in any way, or if you feel someone close to you should hear these words, share it. Comment below and tell me how you're doing. I read every comment. Truly, I do. Stay on this channel, because here, the hard truths of life will be shared without any masks, without any acting. Just the truth. Take care.